Hello and welcome everyone. Thank you for joining today, and I wanted to start by apologizing for Monday. I had scheduled to not make a stream, but I forgot to actually write that in the community chat. So there was someone who messaged me and asked if I was okay, but yeah, I did. I'm sorry, I forgot to just mention it. So but I'm here today, and that's good. I think there will actually be one day next week that I'll be gone as well, but I'll be sure to write what day that is so that we don't make the same mistake again. I hope you've had a good week, and it's been well since we last spoke. Today is Thursday, and in Sweden we celebrate Midsummer tomorrow, which is Friday. I feel like I'm singing that song Friday with Rebecca Black. Like, yes, Thursday is before, and then comes Friday. But there's this thing about tradition in Sweden, which is kind of funny. We're very strict with our traditions. I think you could say that we like to just, this is how it is and this is how you're supposed to do it. So Midsummer has it's a special thing. And actually I have a reason for saying this. It's not just like fun curiosity facts. When Marla, my fiance, came here from the Netherlands, we had booked a party for Midsummer's Eve, that we were going to celebrate with friends, and we had invited everyone over, and then it turned out, like just a few days before that, we realized that actually she had misunderstood. She had put Midsummer Day, meaning Saturday, but in Sweden we always celebrate Midsummer Eve like on the Friday. And so she was so upset, like, wow, we can't we just change it? Can't we just put it on the Friday, the Saturday instead? What does it matter, like what day? And I was kind of like, no, you can't celebrate like Midsummer's Eve on Saturday. That doesn't work. And at that time I was so clearly thinking, like, obviously that's wrong. That's not how you do it. It should be done like this. And today I have a bit of a different understanding about it. Yes, I agree. Like it's you celebrate that particular day, so it would be strange to celebrate it another day. But there's a layer on top of we do it this way that most of us don't think about. It's not just that, yes, you celebrate Midsummer on this day in Sweden, and in other countries you might celebrate it on Midsummer Day. For instance, we celebrate Christmas Eve, not Christmas Day. And for me as a Swede, this is just a natural thing. That's what we do. So I feel like this is how it's supposed to be. And when someone says something else, it's like, well, that's wrong, because it's not now how it actually is. You always celebrate on this day. And I think for people who haven't traveled outside of their country, it's very easy to get stuck in that idea that this is correct and this is wrong, and we believe that our beliefs or what we do is the right way to do things because that's how we've always done them. And anything else that must be wrong, obviously, because it's not what feels right to me. And we fail to see that it's just our perspective, it's just our angle that coming up what we're supposed to do. And for us, like I said, in Sweden, that means we celebrate Midsummer on Midsummer's Eve. Other countries, that might be Midsummer's Day, or maybe even like a day after. I don't actually know. But we identify with this feeling of this is correct and you're wrong when you're doing this. And when you do that, you start to have this distance towards that, because then all of a sudden there's a barrier between you and the actual experience. It's as if though it's not just the experience of Midsummer. Now it's the experience of Midsummer with the feeling of you layered on top of that. So you can clearly see that, well, the other person, they're just doing what they think is right, and you're just doing what you think is right. Instead, it's this is right and this is wrong. You don't do it this way. You're supposed to do it that way. And anyone who disagrees, they're wrong and they're bad people. And this causes a lot of conflict, because now all of a sudden we're not allowing the other people in. We're not actually open to hearing their opinions and their ideas. And it might be that, you know what, in our country, when I was a child, we always celebrated it on Christmas Day or Midsummer Day, because that's how we do it in my country, and I have all these memories, and now it's special to me. This is what I hold on to. This is what I believe is the right way to do it. And I can't see that you have another view that's equally correct, because it doesn't feel right to me. So I actually talked about this in the last video I posted about beliefs, how a belief is just a perceived knowledge, something that we think is true, a perceived fact layered with a feeling tone to it. It's not just that I know that, yes, you celebrate Midsummer and Midsummer Eve. It's I know you celebrate Midsummer and Midsummer Eve, plus my emotions around that. Meaning that I remember when I was a child, we went to summer, like dance around the there's a big midsommarstång, we call it. It's like a pole with two round balls. It's actually a phallo symbol, they call it. It's like it's a giant penis. This is true. We dance around a giant penis with like ribbons in our head. It's quite hilarious. And sing crazy songs. So I have memories of that, which feels like my past. Like it feels like this is me, this is how you do it. And then I have other memories of when I was a teenager, which feels differently. Then I'm like, okay, then when would I go out to party? And Midsummer is like the big party day, and it always rains on Midsummer. That's another feeling. So I have all these emotional relationships to what it means to celebrate Midsummer, which means that when you then come with your opinion of how one is supposed to do it, I'm just going to say, no, that's wrong. That's not how you celebrate it. You do it like this. And if you do it differently, then I disagree with you. And not only that, I don't like you because you think differently than me. I am in general quite a traditional person with my views and my ideas about a lot of things. But the more I practice like this, the more I realize that many of my beliefs about what one should or shouldn't do is simply my what would I call that then? Yeah, my beliefs. It's not actually true. It's not an absolute fact that this is how you do it. It's just how I was raised to do certain things and how I believe one should do certain things. That doesn't mean they're the only right way to do things or they're more correct than your way. It simply means that I see the advantage of doing this. If I'm stuck in my emotional layer about what this means and that it's wrong to think something else, and like this is true, this is how one's supposed to do, if I associate with that feeling, that means that I can't actually see your perspective, because it might be that, you know what, it makes more sense to celebrate on this day in that way, and then I can't see that because I'm immediately rejecting it just because of how I feel about it. And I mean, celebrating Midsummer might be like a silly thing to talk about that, but it could be other beliefs about what one is supposed to do for work. What does it mean to be a good person? What does it mean to be a bad person? Those things we think are universal, but they vary vastly in different countries depending on what you believe in or what culture you come from. And again, this is not absolutes. This is just how we believe one is supposed to act when one is part of society and what is considered to be a social normal, what social conditioning taught you're supposed to follow. And all of these things, they're needed to make a society function, because if everyone would fan out and do all kinds of different things, society would kind of pull apart in many different ways, and it would be more difficult to control that group of people, especially if you had these primal urges of anger and irritation running, where we're like, okay, if you don't think like this, then you can have nationality because we agree together, and then we can push against the people who are not like us. This makes a lot of sense when you think of nations and how things were in the past, but today when people are starting to overcome that, it doesn't make as much sense anymore. It's kind of like a remnant past that has just been living on, and we're so used to that this is how it is, and that it's difficult for us to see that it could be any way else, because this is what we're used to, and going against that goes against you. And even if you believe that, oh no, the right way to do it is to include everyone and think everyone is correct, and then you push against the people who don't do that, well, now you just created another dichotomy, like another polarity, meaning the people who agree with you that this is how you're supposed to do it, and the people who want to be old-fashioned and do it that way, then now they're the bad people, but you're the good people. So it's the sense of self, or the ego, has an incredible way of coming up with ways of creating conflict. There's always conflict. The self always wants to create some kind of conflict that it can push against. In fact, without conflict, without drama, without that polarity, there can be no you, because what it thrives on and what it lives on and what makes it feel like you're alive from this perspective is this polarity, this feeling of me versus you, us versus them. And when you can push against that, and especially if they do something that's against our norms, against our values, that creates a very strong point that we can push against and make the self feel more important, feel our group more righteous, more correct. And that's where wars come from. That's where conflict comes from. That's where we have all this drama in the world, when we think differently and we believe that the people who don't agree with us, bad people, they should just go off and die and jump off a cliff or something like that. There's this strong belief that if you don't agree with us, then there's something fundamentally wrong with us. I mean, we have the right view. We have the right perspective. If you don't agree with us, then you're wrong. There's a documentary from after 9/11. It was called Jesus Camp, where there's an undercover reporter who goes to a Christian youth camp where they basically like indoctrinate these kids into Christianity and like saying like Muslims are bad, these things are bad, and like really creating that polarity. And then the reporter one evening sits down and talks to the woman who runs these camps, and he said, well, why are you doing this? Yeah, because and then it was Al-Qaeda were the enemy then, because they have these camps where they train kids to shoot and become suicide bombers, and she had all these ideas what they were doing, and so that's why we're doing this. And he asked, well, aren't you just doing the same thing? Like you're radicalizing these children to go and be offensive towards this other, like this whole religion. And she said, yeah, but we're right. And I remember they just stopped like that, just like, we're right, or we are on the right side, maybe she said. I don't know exactly the words. And then it just stopped. And that was just kind of hanging in the air. And I remember thinking like, yeah, this is kind of crazy, right? Because she obviously thinks she's correct, and I'm sure that the other people on the other side, they're convinced that they're correct, and they are doing this to defend themselves because these people here are attacking them. And so then you have all these like conflicts going on, all this drama. This is in no way me trying to justify that yes, it's okay to go out and hurt other people. What I'm saying is that this conflict, this drama, comes from the sense of self, believing that we have the right way to do things. If you believe differently than us, then you somehow are worthy of jumping off a cliff. You're not allowed to really exist next to us here. And together all of these things create this drama, conflict, polarity that makes all of this stuff happen in the world. Because if we could actually see beyond our beliefs, in other words, a belief being a perceived fact that we have, like this is how you do it, combined with layered on top of that, meaning that I believe this, I feel this is good, I feel this is how it's supposed to be. If we can take away the feeling part and just have the part where we look at what's actually happening, so much of this, like all of this conflict would be gone, because then it would simply be people doing things. It would be that, well, we believe in this religion and we believe in this religion. Like, there's no conflict here. There's like nothing that needs to be a problem. Like, of course you can do that, and of course you can do that. The problem comes when there's the beliefs later on top. Like, oh no, we need to believe this way and we need to believe that way. Actually, not even that. You should believe like us, and they should convert to us. Like, so we have this belief that is, unless you do that, that's threatening, that's wrong, that's not how you should do it. And this feeds perfectly into the ego, the sense of self, because it thrives on that drama. It needs to have some kind of conflict where it can come in and say yes. You see, you need to feel all this distortion, all this anger, all this friction towards that other side, because if you do, it will keep you safe. It will keep you alive. Like, you should feel this way, so that you're having this polarity towards them, because that's what's going to guide you so that you continue to survive. And if we think of this from the perspective of evolution, it makes perfect sense. Because when we were less evolved, if we can say that we're evolved now, I'm not sure if we can. When we were less involved, at least our brains. Imagine if you were out walking and there's some flowers, and one of the people in your tribe, they take up those flowers, they start eating them, and they just drop down dead. And you're like, oh, poopers, like that's like scary, like they died. You will have a distortion of feeling of like, oh, this is scary, this is not good. That patch over there behind the hill, bad place, don't go there. And you have a lot of aversion towards that, because that place is dangerous. And maybe if you're even a little bit more intelligent, you can recognize that they ate some kind of flower, or obviously you wouldn't know what a flower was, but by word, but you would understand what a flower was. Like if you eat that thing, that means you die. So then whenever you saw a flower of that kind, you would have an aversion, a distortion towards that. Maybe that even spilled over to, oh, white flowers are bad, or small flowers are bad, or flowers that are this big. Like it can take many forms. But having that resistance towards that flower would have kept you alive. Having that resistance towards that place would have helped keep you alive. I apologize. Because that discomfort, that sense of me trying to protect me by having a resistance towards things, or a pull, meaning that, oh, your tribe goes over to that hill over there, and by that hill there's lots of berries, and you eat them all day long, and they're yummy, and you feel, I was going to say you feel full, but it's sugar, so you probably wouldn't feel very full, but you feel good, and you feel healthy, and you're happy after that. So then you have a feeling like, oh, I like that, I want to go there again. So you now all of a sudden you like that place, but you dislike that place. It makes a lot of sense if you wouldn't have a mind that can think the way we can, because that system was designed to keep you alive. And it's still trying to do that. It's just that today we're not living that kind of life. Today it's not that we go out and we forage and we eat fruits and berries, and I mean some people do, but most people don't. What we do is we sit in front of a computer, we see an email, and it's like, oh my goodness, this like anxiety email from this person here, and like there's all this fear, danger, because it's like this is dangerous, and the system is reacting. And that might then spill over to, oh, every time I get an email from this person I feel bad. And then if that continues even further, it's like, oh no, I get anxiety. I have this like feeling of resistance towards sitting in front of my computer and pressing on the email. And then it's just sitting in the computer at all. After a while, you get anxiety and feel burnt out every time you come to work, because you're constantly prepared for that, like, oh, this is dangerous, I don't want to look at this. Because it causes you stress. It causes an emotional friction towards even being at work. I'm just using work as an example. It could be your home, it could be a friend's house, it could be just driving, like it could be anything, but there will be this resistance, this emotional friction, this feeling resistance towards a place, a situation, a thought even. And all it's trying to do is keep you alive. It's just trying to keep you safe, but it doesn't make rational sense. And you can see this, it's just an email. There's nothing inherently dangerous. The email is not going to jump out of the screen and attack you. It's just light on a screen. There's nothing dangerous about it. But still, we're having the same reaction that we did when we were cave people and foraging and moving around, because that's the system we have. Even though we have this incredible mind that can understand and think through things and understand that, yes, this is not dangerous, but I still have this system trying to take control. Because that's a much more primal system in our bodies. And you can see this in animals as well. They have this distortion system, like I call it, the feelings. If you look at cats, they're amazing. They'll be walking down the street and they're completely gracious, just walking and lounging and so relaxed and so at ease. And then there's a sound like over there and they go, and they look and they listen, and you can see the ears moving like this. And it was like, I was nothing, okay. And then they're back to being cats again, just walking around like they own the street. Whereas we humans, we do that, we're walking, and we hear, oh crap, like there's something, and then we go into our mind and start telling ourselves stories about this and feeling this distortion, this friction against that sound. Or maybe it was like a terrorist attack, I don't know what it was, this maybe a bear, like something scary. And you have this system just working overload, because it's not just on the street now it's in front of the computers, it's logging onto Facebook, logging onto YouTube, and you see the leader of your political enemies that you don't like, and then you feel bad about that, and then you get an email from someone who you used to know, and you feel bad because, like, in the past you used to be friends, and now, and this system is just working overdrive. We were not built to exist in a world like we're doing now. It's just not natural for us to do that, and these systems were never built for that. They were made for real, raw danger and physical things. They were not built for the way that we live now. And yet we live our lives as if though that's true. We kind of consider this to be a natural part of life that we have to live with, that it's supposed to be that way. And when we try to do something about it, instead of actually looking at that system directly, we try to make excuses or explanations around why it's okay. So, well, you don't need to be afraid of the email because your boss, maybe he just had a bad day and they're mailing this. So then you're kind of trying to transmute it to make yourself feel okay, because actually they just had a bad day, so it was not directed at me. You haven't actually touched and looked at this feeling, what that feels like, because the secret is that there's nothing there. There's no danger there. We're afraid of these feelings as if though it was a physical threat, the feeling in and of itself. But there's nothing there. Like, you're creating that feeling, and you can also let go of that feeling. That resistance you have towards that thing, you can let go of it. You can make a story around it that would help let go of that friction, that distortion, that feeling. That means that the part of you that is being triggered, meaning the part that identifies with, let's say you identify as someone who's an intelligent person, and someone tells you that you're really dumb, like, why don't you get this? You're so stupid. And that part of you that has an identity that is trying to uphold of, I'm a good person, I'm intelligent, I understand these things, and now they're saying something I don't like, and you start pushing against them. Instead of trying to say, like, well, they're dumb, I know better than them, they shouldn't say that. That's what most people do, or they might say that, oh, you know what, they're just having a bad day, don't think about them. But if you would actually look at this feeling itself, if you would look at the part in you that is trying to protect something, that is trying to make something feel like it has value, like it has weight, which it really doesn't, because it's just a feeling, it's just a concept in your body that you're holding on to, that I feel good when someone says I'm intelligent, and I feel bad when someone says I'm dumb. I'm not saying you do personally, but I'm just saying, like, that might be the thing. Or you might think that if someone says I'm a good person, then I feel good. If someone says I'm a bad person, then I feel bad. Other people might feel good when someone says they're a bad person, because, yeah, I'm a bad guy, like, I like being a bad guy. Or you're a good guy. No, I'm not. I don't like being called that. Don't call me a good, like, I want to be a bad guy. So there's not really any right and wrong here. There's no absolutes in how we react towards things. It's just, what are you trying to protect about your identity? What is it that you're trying to make everyone believe? If you can let go of that, if you can look at the part that you're trying to protect, there's nothing there. There really is nothing there, but we're so convinced that this is really important, that we're the main character of the entire universe, and everything revolves around my perspective of what it's supposed to be. And if it doesn't, then, well, that's wrong. So obviously, this is really important to me. And it is. As long as you have a self that you're trying to protect, it is very, very important. It feels almost counterintuitive at first to start touching these things, because it's just so deeply rooted in how we perceive ourselves and how we move through the world, how all of society basically says that everything we do should be to build this part up, instead of letting everything go and just existing. In other words, it's not okay to just enjoy being alive. You have to first achieve something to earn your place on the planet, or somehow, or place in society. Otherwise, it's not okay to feel good. You have to do something for you to be allowed to just exist here. And that part is the identity that we're playing. So you earn a lot of money, okay, good, then I feel good about myself, now I'm allowed to be here, now I'm allowed to feel good. If you don't earn a lot of money, then you should feel bad, and you're not allowed to be here. If you go to a spiritual center, a meditation center, well, then you need to be a really spiritual person who, whatever the norm is for that center, which is different from every center, and it can be vastly different. Some centers will say it's how much you meditate. Other centers will say it's how kind you are to other people. And there's another center that might focus on how much you give away from what you have. Whatever it is, that's the norm that decides what the part of your identity that you're trying to protect at that particular center. So it doesn't really help to go to a new religion, a new spiritual center, a new practice center, because you're bringing the one thing with you that's always going to follow, which is your sense of identity. And that might change. It might be different, but it's just going to be another form that you need to protect. And what most of us don't understand is that when you stop protecting that, when you really allow yourself to give up the fight, to surrender, to just say like, oh, F it. Like I'm not going to fight the world anymore. I'm too tired. I'm too exhausted fighting everyone, resisting everything, I just give up. I surrender. Whatever happens, just happens. I'm too tired of this crap. Just think I'm a stupid. I don't care anymore. When you stop doing that, all of a sudden there's this energy that you put into upholding this image in front of everyone else. The idea that it was so important that they thought you were a good person in whatever that context was where you were, that they thought that you behaved according to the norms that one has to behave here, that you did the things that, when all of these things took all that energy, because it takes a lot of energy to do that. And also, it's not just societal conditioning, social conditioning, there's also these primal urges. It means that we have cravings, we want more, we want to hoard things, we have sexual desire, and those things need to be looked at as well. Because otherwise you'll just become a sociopath. If you just take away social conditioning, what's going to be left is going to be the sexual desire, is going to be the craving for having more things and wanting better stuff, like that stuff, but you don't care about other people. Then you have a sociopath. That's quite literally like the definition of it. So it's not just about letting go of that. You actually have to look at the part that is you on a deeper level. So if you follow your, like a lot of spirituality says, like, oh, just be yourself, just go out and just do whatever you feel like doing. And if anyone complains, it's their problem. Because this is who you are. You should be that person. Again, that's sociopathic behavior. That is you just skipping everyone else and just saying like, oh, screw you guys, I don't care about you. I just care about my urges, what I need. But you need to look at them also, because they also make up your sense of identity, of who you are, what's behind that veil that everyone sees, that mask that you put on, like, okay, this is me, this is who I am, and then you have all these feelings and desires running around, but you don't show them to people, because that would be scary. If I would show them, then they could judge me and they might not like me. It's much easier if they judge my mask. So if they judge the mask, then it's not actually me they're judging, but if I put this in beside me and them, then I'm safe. Then it's okay to be this way and I can just kind of live underneath here. So the thing that's really important to have as well is what I call being benign against the world in general. Benign, the reason I use that word is because if you look at cancer, you have benign and malignant cancers. A malignant cancer growth is something that wants to hurt you, that is dangerous for the body. A benign growth is just a growth. It's like, it's not dangerous, it's not wanting to hurt the host body in any way. So by having this feeling of not just being at ease with the world, but also wanting well for other people. I'm not talking about loving kindness here, where you're like, oh, everyone should be happy, everyone should, like, that's not quite what I'm meaning. I'm meaning feeling this open non-resistance towards people, meeting people naked without this mask in front of you, like upholding this image, which again takes so much energy. And when you see someone you don't like, and you think about, okay, I don't like this person, when you see what happens there, it's actually you pushing against them, making you feel bad, because whatever they did doesn't fit into how you believe one should behave. Again, I'm not saying their behavior is okay, or that you should just let them keep on doing that. I'm saying that you feeling bad about it is not necessary. they can keep doing whatever they're doing. There's nothing that says that you need to go around and have all this resistance. Just drop the resistance and then decide if you want to do something about it. And when you do, then you'll do something about it from a place of stillness, calmness, of actually being happy and calm and feeling like you're in a good mood, and being benign, meaning you come up with them open, not accusatory, not with like, oh, I want to fight you and like you're a bad person. Instead, you're just open and welcoming towards them. And I can promise you that you'll have a much easier time actually conveying your belief, saying like, oh, you know what? You're out mowing the lawn at 11 o'clock at night and my child can't sleep, which is something that happened to me not long ago. And you could actually talk to that person and not like, oh, you're out middle of the night, what the hell? I'll be angry. They're just going to be like, well, I have to do that. And then you have all this conflict again. Instead of you just going out and say like, oh, I'm like, you know what? It's in the middle of the night. We're trying to sleep. And I'm not sure if you're aware of the time, but it's really difficult for us to sleep. Would you mind doing it this tomorrow? Or could you do some other day? Not to say the passive-aggressive part that you could do that, but really like looking at how you have friction towards them first, being benign towards them, and then after you drop that, then you talk to them. So my advice to everyone who wants to do this is to be more focused, especially in the beginning, on how you relate to things rather than how things are. So focus on how are you relating to this, and make sure that you're, if not completely fine with it or being okay with it or even enjoying it, even if it's something separate from you, then at least aim for neutral, or as neutral as you can before you try doing something about it, because then you'll come up to that person and you won't bring you into the mix. You won't have two strong wills that are fighting like this. Instead, it will be one human body coming up with an opinion, and the other person can feel that. When you're without your mask, when you're not trying to protect yourself, other people feel this, and that means that they can allow themselves to be who they are as well, because it requires tremendous effort and energy to uphold these ideas and images, how we think we're supposed to be in other people's minds. Always looking good, always being well dressed, always being successful, all of these things, instead of just being yourself, whatever that may be. And at the same time focusing on being benign, meaning we don't want to cause harm to other people. Like, there's nothing that says it's very difficult to act in a harmful way towards anyone else when you're feeling good, because there's just no need to, because they can't really threaten you. And I mean the sense of you, your identity can't be threatened when you're in a good mood. Your physical body can absolutely be threatened, for sure. But your sense of identity, that is something that actually doesn't need to be threatened, even in a threatening situation. And I'm not saying this is easy to do. I'm saying I can always do this. It's just that that's what happens when you start letting go of this part, is that your ego, your identity that you're upholding, that is something that you don't need to have threat, like that can actually be safe. Because if you stop defending it, then there's nothing there. Whereas again, the physical body can still be hurt. It can still be, well, it will die eventually, because we're just here for, I mean, if you live a long time, you live a little bit over 100 years, but on the scale of things, it's just like nothing in the scale of the universe. So seeing different people's perspectives, seeing how we create this layer of feeling above. I started out this conversation with talking about Midsummer and how I believe that, yes, it's true, this is how you celebrate it. It's supposed to be a Midsummer Eve, not the other way around, like on Midsummer Day, like my fiance said. When you allow yourself to drop the emotional part of that, the feeling part that says that, oh, I feel like this is right, and you just start looking at what's actually happening, there's just so much less conflict, because you no longer need to defend the idea of how you think things should be. It doesn't mean that I will say like, okay, my partner says we should celebrate Midsummer Day, not Midsummer Day Eve. It still wouldn't work in Sweden, because no one celebrates on Midsummer Day. It's just how it is. Like, we celebrate on Midsummer Eve. But I don't need to go in with the feeling of, oh, you're so dumb, like, how don't you get this? Like, obviously, this is how you do it. You're, like, just crazy for saying something else. I could simply say, well, okay, that's I understand that's how it is in the Netherlands, but here in Sweden, we celebrate on Midsummer Eve. So there's no conflict, there's no drama. We'll still have two different opinions of how we should approach this celebration, but the conflict or the fight has disappeared. Okay, so today is Thursday, and that means there's no guided meditation today. We'll just sit together. My allergies are quite bad, so I'm not going to do the Kapalabhati today. I think we'll just do box breathing, and if you haven't been here before, that's the one that's also called tactical breathing, meaning you breathe in for 4, you hold your breath for 4, then breathe out for 4, hold your breath for 4. And this is a incredible exercise for regulating the nervous system, because it really does calm you down. It's called tactical breathing because they teach like police officers and firefighters and military to do this when they're in really stressful situations, because it helps them just calm down, and is very good at that. I will do it a few times with you, 2 or 3 times to begin with, and I'll do it in just tempo, like I'll count you in how to breathe, and then you can continue to do that by yourself in whatever tempo that you like. After that, just sit and do whatever technique you want to do. You can do it I usually do it for a few minutes, and then I'll just keep on sitting. The reason I like doing a breathing exercise before I meditate is because it really, when we sit down and we've been doing other things, the mind tends to run around, and we tend to be somewhere else than actually here for sitting and being aware. So it helps to do something that brings more presence into our current sitting position, whatever that may be. So yeah, we'll start like that, and then I'll see you in 20 minutes. So we'll breathe in for 2, 3, 4, hold 2, 3, 4, and out 2, 3, 4, hold 2, 3, 4. Now in 2, 3, 4, hold 2, 3, 4, and out 2, 3, 4, and hold 2, 3, 4. We can also try doing that slower by going in 2, 3, 4, hold 2, 3, 4, out 2, 3, 4, hold 2, 3, 4. Now keep counting in whatever tempo feels comfortable for you, and then when you're ready, just sit for the rest of the time, doing whatever meditation you'd like. Thank you for a nice chat before and a nice sitting. I hope you'll have a beautiful Midsummer Eve and a nice weekend. And I'm looking forward to seeing you all back on Monday again. Thank you so much.